team.
Okay, are we back?
Okay, yes.
Yes, hello
We are
everyone.
live, except Ellie, there's something in front of your face. What is it?
Hold on.
You gotta move this way.
Hold on. Let me...
No, there's that horrible
Don't move.
static
It's fine.
again.
It's fine.
Alright,
It's okay.
No, I want to see your
No.
face. Just lean this way.
It's okay.
Alright, well, she's there.
Okay.
Just believe
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
No.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our 180
Oh,
podcast, everyone. So glad that you can join us. Just so everybody knows, if you're joining us on YouTube, we also have social media. You can find us at Instagram at 180.shift, and then TikTok and Twitter 180shift, and then Facebook is Tara and Ellie, and then oh my goodness, I'm sorry. And then the website is 180movement.org. So just so you know, check it out, please. And over the week, we had a pretty interesting event happen. We had the Saticore Elementary School protest, and during that, we actually had a video, an interview that went pretty viral. Our latest stats on that is that we have 1.2 million views on that. Likes is over 100,000, and comments we have around 3,000 comments. So that is crazy, but we have two people that we had from the Saticore Elementary School protest here today. So if you could just take an opportunity to just both introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm a mom at Saticore Elementary. Well, I'm not a mom at the elementary, but I'm a mom with my 7-year-old at Saticore Elementary School. I also have 2 other boys, an 11-year-old who's in private school, and a 1-year-old.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucine. I also have 2 kids at Saticore and a 10-month-old baby.
Oh,
That's amazing.
That's so good.
Okay, that's great.
Oh.
So, do you have anything? Real quick. Okay, she's just working on some stuff. But I just wanted to ask both of you, what motivated you to kind of get into this sort of fight?
Just the event that was going to happen on June 2nd. So the Pride Assembly itself at our school is what kind of motivated and started all of this. From then it kind of grew on its own organically into the, ripple effect that it continued to have, I think, like you said, over the weekend and continuing up until today.
Right, yeah.
Well, for me, I'd already moved my older son out of public school because I had already seen that this is happening. He was in a public school last year, and we were getting emails telling kids to go to Pride events and to have a day of silence observing LGBTQ community and things of that nature, which I thought was inappropriate for a 4th grader at the time. So we quickly decided that we had to move out and move to a private school for him. The Saticore had always been this, small school for a community, low key. All the parents know each other. The teachers have been there for a long time. And it was kind of like a safe haven. And then suddenly we're finding out that there's going to be a Pride Assembly at our little school for little kids. And it was shocking because it was kind of out of nowhere.
So this hadn't happened before? There wasn't any, LGBTQ stuff being promoted?
We've talked about before, and in my interview with you that went viral, I said that there was a trans teacher at the school for years. My eldest son went to the school as well. That little flag that got burned somehow had been there for years in that little pot for years. And suddenly it was burned. So the community was really accepting of that, which was there already, because it wasn't being kind of pushed on anyone. It existed, it's fine, just as we've been saying. We know you exist, we acknowledge you, we're fine with that, but we don't want the agenda pushed on our kids.
Yeah. Right. Something that you did mention, though, is that, we're not trying to push hate on them at all, right?
Not at all.
And I'm sure, like many Americans, you have probably somebody who is part of that community, and you don't have any sort of bad blood between them,
I
right?
could give him a shout out right now, but I won't put him on the spot. But some of my favorite humans ever in life are gay and lesbian, and that has never been a factor, whether I am friends with someone, whether I, hang out with them, have lunch with them, whether my kids are with them. It's just not a topic of anything, We don't need to talk about that. And suddenly, we have to talk about that all day, every day, in every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
I think when we were talking, Christine also mentioned how we both went to school here, right? We graduated.
We grew up here.
We grew up and we worked and we grew into young adults. We saw this and we weren't culture shocked. Just because, what I'm trying to say is just because we didn't see it in elementary school, we didn't grow up all of a sudden and get shocked when we did see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
community.
Like, oh my gosh.
We didn't need to have it in kindergarten in order to be accepting or kind of it. We were just taught to be kind and respectful to everyone. Period, right?
Right.
And so when we grew up and we saw that, it wasn't new or shocking or anything. It was, okay, we're just going to be kind and respectful to everyone, period.
You didn't even think about
Not
that. Like,
at
I didn't even
all.
think about anything otherwise.
Yeah. I totally get that. I mean, when I was growing up, it was very much leaning into the world of all this stuff with being white means you're racist and all this kind of stuff. And just seeing it grow and develop, it's like, you guys got exactly what you wanted like
Yes.
years ago. That's not good enough. You want more. We were talking to a lot of people in the left today. We had to basically like disguise ourselves because they will not talk to us. And I think that's the scariest thing now is
Yeah.
they would not talk to us. So but I was talking to them and they were saying no, they need to say it's normal in kindergarten to say, oh, it's normal to have 2 mommies, 2 daddies, And it's just like, well, that's
We
not
know, the
normal.
adults know it's okay. My kindergartner doesn't need to repeat anything, though. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you, now going kind of back to what we were saying, is that they keep on saying that we are the ones giving that hate, but is there any like other misconceptions that you believe that are being kind of told by the other side? Yeah.
As far as hate, it just really bothers me because just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I hate you or what you stand for. And also that we're trying to erase them from the not talking about them is erasing them. We're talking about in elementary school, right?
Yeah.
And in elementary school, we don't talk about a lot of things because it's not age appropriate. Like, we don't talk about polyamorous families, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't talk about people's fetishes.
Yeah.
Okay? We don't talk about people who identify as dogs. The kids identify as dinosaurs,
Yeah, exactly.
and, superheroes. They do that on their
Yeah.
own. But saying that we have to talk about all these things that are not age appropriate to kids in order to acknowledge adults,
Yeah.
or even to acknowledge the kids of these adults, is like, I don't understand that, because there's a lot of things that exist that we know that we shouldn't talk to kids yet because they can't grasp that concept yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, I have 2 kids, young mom, and yeah, it's just like, they're so, my daughter is 3, my son is 1, and my daughter, like, it's so funny because I haven't taught her any of this. Like, I don't talk about, why would I? But it was funny though, because the other day I let her watch Elmo, sometimes, and they were like talking about siblings, and I was like, oh, that's cool, they're explaining what a sibling is, and then it jumped into different types of families, and then all of a sudden they have 2 gay men like hugging, and there's like some adopted children under them, and like Elmo's talking to them. And you could just see it in my daughter's eyes. Like, you could just see it in her eyes. She was like,
What's going on?
yeah. And she kind of even said, like they're really good friends. Like, but I've heard some people say like, oh, the reason she thinks that just naturally is because she comes from a home of bigots, is because there's like hatred is stemming from the parents and the parenting. But my whole thing is like, no, the kid knows. I've never brought it up at all. Like,
Right.
That's how your family is.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, and me and my husband both, I mean, yeah, we're just like, we want our daughter and our son to have a childhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this other nonsense aside. So,
They're little for such little time.
yeah,
You know, like
Yeah.
I have an 11-year-old. He's already like ready to like grow up,
yeah,
and we just want that little time to be innocent because
Yeah.
they'll have plenty of time to adult and to find out about all the crummy things that happen in the world. We want to talk about
exactly,
that.
yeah.
You know.
Oh, exactly.
So let's like just keep them innocent. Let's keep them pretending to be dinosaurs and superheroes and not have to confuse them about pronouns and what they identify as and all these things. So the reason I bring this up is because of what passed today at LAUSD. And I don't know if you want
Yeah, go ahead.
to
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
that's
Like
fine.
I can run down what
Yes.
they're going to be teaching.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'd be
Totally.
I kind of summarized it in a easier format to read because it was in their agenda. So give me a sec while I
They had a
Scroll
board
through.
meeting today, and it was passed today.
It was
today.
a closed board meeting, right?
It was actually open.
Oh, it was open.
There was
Oh,
a
wow.
few people.
Okay.
But it was a very last minute agenda that was.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it seems that this came about in response to the Satakoy protest, and no one in the opposition group was aware because there was no comment, no
Yeah.
one registered to speak, and so, like we didn't know, but because we're like parents and this is so new to us, we wouldn't even know to kind of be on the lookout for
Right.
something like that. But I would think that someone would have
We've
been
got
aware
about half a
and went to
thousand
comment, right?
students that
Yeah.
attend LAUSD. So there's got to be parents. We can't be the only parents.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely
That's true.
not. Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was no comment, opposition comment. That you watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah. I turned it off. I couldn't watch.
Yeah.
But this is what passed. June is Pride Month. October is LGBTQ History Month. October 11 is National Coming Out Day. November 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance. March 31st is Transgender Day of Visibility. April 12th is Day of Silence to honor contributions of LGBTQ. Further, schools to emphasize LGBTQ instruction using Queer All Year calendar, hold other commemorative activities. District will publicize Out for Safe Schools campaign, posters, badges, and other inclusive materials. So we went from saying we don't want an assembly,
On this one day,
and they like came back and said, guess what? We're gonna be in your face all year, all day, every day, talking about this subject to your kids at every level,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
every opportunity.
Do you believe that this is a sort of agenda that they're trying to push?
Absolutely.
It's indoctrination. It's an attempt at indoctrination. Like,
why do you believe that they're doing this? Like, is there any motive that you would think that they have behind doing this?
Can I speak on this?
If you want
I
to,
know this
yeah.
is for them, but I think it's the ancient rule of war, which is divide and then once they're
Conquer.
separated, conquer.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they're turning our own kids against us, and it's like
and you gotta get them young.
Well, you're getting rid
Yeah.
of the family, right?
Yeah.
First we got
Okay.
rid of God, then we're getting rid of family,
Yeah.
and then we're getting rid of gender. Like nothing exists. You don't exist. How do we know that you're here right now?
Right.
It's just, I'm going based off of videos that,
no, yeah.
how do we know that this is real?
And their philosophies are starting to bump into each other, actually. Like, if you think about it, like, the trans movement is based off of this thing of, who you are on the inside does not match who you are on the outside, right? But if you look at, like, the feminist thing, the core of feminism, which is, like, a man, like, he does not get an opinion in something like abortion because he's a man on the inside and outside, right? Just an assumption. So he can't be like, so it's like, well, you say they're the same, but over here says that sometimes they can be different, you know? Like, what if there's a guy who says, like, he knows about abortion because he thinks more like a woman? It's like these logics are starting to be so stretched, and it's like, you know, I mean, that's why I think as a human race, we always return to the Bible, because the Bible has been a north star. It's always the same, always consistent. You know what I mean? So I think it's unfortunate, because if it continues and if it keeps going like this, we're going to be approaching some hard times, you know? And I mean, nobody wants that, you know? It's like,
Yeah, because it's not just schools. Like, people comment and say, take your kids out and put them in private school. Okay, I'm taking my son out from Satakoy. I'm going to also put him in private school. But what happens when they leave school and they have to live in a society of people who just, you know, want to be what they want to be, and they expect you to take it all or nothing, and if you don't agree or understand or wish to remain respectful but apart from it, then you're hateful.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. And that's such a strong word, too, because it's like, you're hateful, you know? And it's like,
Right, and you're a bigot, and
They're
you're
just-
hateful.
yeah.
Trigger words, right? A lot of
Trigger
trigger
words,
words
yeah.
that we and it's easy to
Yeah.
do that to whatever you don't agree with.
Yeah,
just
it's words that, work us up.
you're hateful, you're homophobes, you're
Yeah.
Right,
bigots, you're-
like homophobe. I don't even
Yeah,
know
right.
what that means. Like, I've tried to, like, what's a homophobe? Like, I'm not phobic of anything.
Right.
I don't fear any of that.
Like, you're
That's such a good
transphobe. No, I don't phobe anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine. You know?
phobe anything.
And I was doing just fine until you come to me and tell me that I have to, like, celebrate your identity.
Yeah.
Your
Like,
sexuality.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't celebrate my sexual identity.
Yeah.
So why should we take June and October and April
March,
and
all of
March
Oh my
and, like,
goodness, I know.
to celebrate your sexual
I
or
know.
whatever gender identity? There's so many different things now, I don't even know.
Now, kind of going back to the agenda part, who do you believe is like pushing it? Because you guys are involved with your kids. Is it the student? Is it like the teachers? Would it be somebody like administration? Who is behind this?
I think it's so much bigger than all of them. I don't think it's the school. I mean, obviously, yes, the district passed it today, right? But is it the district, or is it California law? Is it Board of Education? I mean, it's so much bigger than I think all of us, or probably bigger than what we can imagine.
Yeah.
But it's deep and it's big. I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to think of things from a perspective of what I see as what I think, rather than like what could be. To me, it's a small group yelling the loudest, and then everyone else caving and virtue signaling.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's funding sources and all kinds of things that people talk about, but mainly I think that's what it is. They just scream loud and they're a protected
Get the
class,
attention.
and
Yeah.
most people are like, okay, you know, we can't say anything. And then what happens is we come from a simple assembly, an innocent this and innocent that, to bam, like, we're,
Yeah.
you know,
That's so
like
true,
we're
yeah.
in your face. And,
Yeah.
like I said, it's fine. Your existence is valid. It's okay with me. I don't hate you. I don't want you to disappear or to not
anything
exist.
different.
Yeah.
I really just want to coexist without having to celebrate
That.
your
Yeah.
choices, because nobody's out celebrating me.
Yeah.
You know, we're all just living. So we don't have to talk about someone's accomplishments from a perspective of their sexuality. Like, we can say, Tara accomplished this.
Yeah.
and
Without
Elizabeth
mentioning that she's
accomplished
heterosexual.
No. Well, and we don't even have to say at this point that you're a woman
Yeah.
or that's a man. Like, let's just think
Individual.
of as, like, individually, what have you accomplished, regardless of your skin color, your sexuality, your orientation, and any of
Yeah.
that.
Now, did you guys see how that I think it's Matt Walsh, that What is a Woman movie was like free
I
on
saw
Twitter.
that. I saw
So I haven't
that.
watched that yet, but I
It's
Yeah.
really good.
But he
so I'm
keeps
not even tainted by anything.
it's so
You know.
it
Right,
is
yeah.
it's a pretty bold movie. I mean, there's a point where he's like asking a trans doctor what a woman is, and it was just like
Nobody can answer the question, basically.
yeah,
Right.
nobody
I know,
could
I've
answer
heard that
it.
no one can answer it. I've never
Yeah.
watched it.
And it's like, and what I think the one of the questions, the answers that I remember was like, oh, it's when your physical matches your internal, but it always goes back to material, you know, like material. Oh, I like to wear dresses. I like to do nails. I'm more feminine. I like to do this, and it's just like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that is such like a minuscule part of. Anyway, I mean,
There are
it's-
girls who don't like to do.
I know,
Hair
I know, right?
nails, you
They're
know.
trying to get rid of the
And you know, I
tomboy.
was, I was talking to
Nice.
someone yesterday, and I thought back to when I was in elementary school, and when I was like up until like 10 years old, I was a super tomboy.
Yeah.
Didn't like dresses. I would hate when my mom would like try to put my hair in any sort of
Yeah.
bow.
I-
And like I was like my main concern was to be best at tetherball on the playground, you know. And if this was happening back in those times, maybe I would have been confused, and I would have thought, oh, I don't like act like a girl. Maybe I am a boy. Maybe I should, you know, have a pronoun that
Yeah.
I don't even know how that works.
So
I'm just kind of like
like-
thinking through this, like what would a 7-year-old me, an 8-year-old me have thought if this was happening?
If people started
and I was
validating
just
your-
trying to find
So
myself.
confusing. I can't
And
even
that's not even
imagine.
puberty, and it gets so much
Yeah.
harder during
Yeah,
puberty.
it's just
Like
so
girls are
confusing.
getting boobs and they're embarrassed by them.
Yeah. It's like,
You know, so they try to hide them with
Yeah.
like T-shirts and stuff, right? So, oh, you must be a boy if
Yeah,
you're
it's
embarrassed
like,
by
oh
your
my
body.
goodness.
The things that happen, it's just so sad that kids have to deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I am planning on homeschooling my daughter right now. I'm like, I am
seen
just-
enough.
I've seen enough, and I'm in a position where I can do it because I work from home, thankfully. I mean, that's one good thing that I think came out of COVID was normalization of working
from
from
home.
home. Yeah. But COVID was something where it was like, you know, politics and all this hypothetical stuff became very personal. You know, it affected
Yes.
businesses, families,
Yeah.
social lives, everything. And I think that, you know, the more we distance from it, it's just like, that was a tactic, and it really
Yeah.
worked, you know,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of division now. And I mean, again, I was shocked today when people would not even talk to us because we might be conservative, you know?
Wow.
Like, I was shocked at that. I was like, you don't even talk to me anymore. You know, talking to the trans
So you
people.
almost have to like wear a disguise to like
Yeah.
fit
The
in
other-
with
Yes.
them.
I had
It was,
a
yeah.
rainbow sticker, and I was about to talk to this rainbow man, and then and we were about to interview him, and then across the way he like looks over, and then like
and then one
this-
guy's just like, no.
yeah, this
He's
like
no.
trans
Oh,
person
they're
is
not-
like, get away from them,
They're
and it's
not-
just
they're
like
not to talk
they're
to.
speaking their own language, and it's just like I'm sorry,
Wow.
like, and one thing I kept asking people today, because a lot of people who showed up was just like, how do you think this yelling is gonna end? Do you think there's gonna be some sort of like conclusion, agreement, anything? Everyone was like, no, of course not. This is gonna be a riot.
They want to fight,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what will happen.
It is a fight, and I remember asking this lady, you know, what was the end goal for this? Do you want the other side to be, I guess, enlightened by your opinions or views? And then she said, no, we want a fight. We want a fight because we're going to go hard on them because they are hard on us, so we're going to go even harder on them, was basically the response she was giving. So I'm kind of curious, what have you experienced like out when you're at these protests, right? Has there any been like unusual, like obviously you're probably being called names, so how is that?
Well, they're agitators, right? And I think Friday's protest was probably the first one we've done.
on this topic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to other protests. I usually get passionate about things that I care about and show up. But I hadn't been to a protest having to do with because usually you get involved when
Yeah.
something impacts you,
Yeah.
and then you're like,
It's gotta
okay.
be personal
Yeah.
for you
You
to
know?
show up and fight for it.
So,
Mhm.
but I honestly didn't think that's how it was gonna go.
I switched this.
I
Like,
had
we gotta
never
see-
experienced
Yeah,
that
yeah,
before, and like
that level of it.
the fact that it was also portrayed so differently than what it was
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
media,
Yeah.
because like literally I saw them coming towards people like with their chests and just kind of
Oh
like
my goodness.
egging them on
Yeah.
for like
Oh, yeah.
a reaction. And then, you know, they're a protected class, so if we had been warned by police that if there's any sort of altercation, that it's considered a hate crime or what have you.
If we do something, it's a hate crime. If it's the other way around, we're not protected, so it's
Right,
just
so, you know, and there was that conversation
Wow.
with one of our parents where he's holding an American flag, and one of the protesters there says that I would burn that flag.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
And he
It's
says, I want to
instigating.
see you do it. And then he walks over to the police and he says, he said he'll burn this flag, is that okay? And the police officer says, yes, it's his First Amendment right to do it.
Oh wow.
Because there's case law on that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
The Supreme Court ruled that it's your First Amendment right to
Yeah.
burn your own flag. You can't burn someone else's flag, I believe, but you can burn yours. But if you burn a pride flag, that's a hate incident.
Yeah.
So he was just baffled. He's like, this is America, and this is the
Yeah.
Why
American
would you burn your
flag.
own
Why would you
flag?
burn this
Yeah.
flag? And he told him, and it's funny because he's an immigrant, and the other guy, presumably he's not.
Yeah.
He says, then go to another country.
Oh
He is more proud of this
Oh,
flag
yeah.
And this
than he
country.
is,
Than the
you know?
American is.
Yeah.
We're seeing that so much, you know.
Yeah.
So much of that, like, the American, I mean, so many times I've had people from socialist countries who grew up in socialist countries coming here and saying, like, I grew up in a socialist country, like South America or something. I can tell you what it's like, you know. There's extreme poverty, there's extreme corrupt in the government. It's just like all these things, and they're warning us. I mean, I've been warned so many times,
Wow.
and it's just like we're just not listening. But anyway, I also wanted to say too that I think what we're seeing too, especially in Glendale today, it was very interesting to see this happening in Glendale, because Glendale has a very large Armenian population, and Armenians have this rich community, you know, and it's similar with Hispanics, and it's interesting that less people are getting involved in LA, because it's like Hispanics, like, they have that kind of similar community,
Yes.
but a lot of the times it's built on Catholicism, you know. But still, like, a lot of them...
Where is the Hispanic community on this? Why aren't they showing up big?
I
you know?
don't
You know
know.
what?
We're
I'm
showing
wondering.
up, I
I'm
guess.
wondering the exact same thing, because I think it's just because of the amount of brainwashing that's been happening. You just kind of just stick to, like, I don't want to call like all of Hispanics sheep, but it can be like that a lot of the times. But if if a lot of Hispanics really did their own research and saw that what I guess one side was maybe pushing more than the other, or just like one kind of agenda that's being pushed, and they actually say that they believe in like Catholicism and that they're actually practicing it, then why are they actually, you know,
Doing the
supporting all
opposite.
this stuff? And that's something that I just find myself scratching my head at
Yeah.
all the time, because I'm just like, where's my community here? You're
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
like,
No, I
we're
feel
supposed to
that.
be having this,
Bigger
you know,
numbers.
So-
right?
And I want to just interject and say that I know you talked about God and Christianity, and you talked about Catholicism. Are you Catholic?
No.
So I'm not religious at all, and I just want to make that point that it's not also just
Right, it's not
about
real. It's not
religion.
religious. It's just
not about
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
being Armenian or Hispanic. This is an American
Mhm.
issue.
it is.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
they do that.
Human-
They try to
Mhm.
minimize it and say, oh, you immigrants, and specifically for Armenians, they say you were marginalized and the Armenian genocide happened, so you should be more tolerant of other people.
Oh my
which is-
god, that is so manipulative.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
So,
just
you
like-
know, Armenian genocide happens 1915, fast forward 100
Yeah.
or so years later, we should let
Yeah.
our kids be indoctrinated into all kinds of things.
Everything.
Mm.
Because we should be tolerant.
Yeah.
Make, like, you can't connect that however you try. But my point is, you don't have to be any religion or any nationality, ethnicity, or what have you, to see that kids are kids.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we don't talk about
Mhm.
the Bible in public school.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't
Either.
say the word God
Right,
in
so-
school
Yeah.
anymore.
It's so crazy. We used to say the Pledge of
of
Allegiance every they don't I guess they don't know.
I think they do say the pledge, don't they?
I don't know,
asked
the
Ellen
word
and they
God,
said
in-
we
even if
do.
they
Yeah.
do, the word God probably can't be,
Probably
because
not
the
under
books can't
God.
have the word God in it.
Right. I I mean, and we're seeing also kind of like all the books that are being pushed in the schools right now that are just being like covering LGBTQ, LGBT, the whole entire. I'm sorry, I cannot remember all the letters.
It's gotten really
but
long.
It's gotten very long. But they do have everybody that's part of the community. They have those books that are being in schools. And I'm not sure if you've taken a look at some of the books that they have on there. I'm not sure if you've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them online. We have to do a full-on
Scoot you over this way.
inventory of Saticoy this school year when it starts.
So are you gonna be doing that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For now, they weren't letting a lot of us on campus, but once new school year starts,
Well, at this
we have-
point, they just passed a resolution
So
saying
it'll-
they're gonna go all
yeah,
out.
that's true. So
You can't even ask for them not to be present.
even if the books are there, we probably
Wow.
won't have a say in.
And what's
Right.
what you want your children to be having access to, right?
I doubt. Well,
Yeah.
I think all of the. I think our main point and objective on Friday was parental rights, parental voices. But I think all of that
That got taken away
Yeah.
completely got.
today.
And if we had an inch, all of that just got silenced. It seems like it feels that way right now. It doesn't mean our fight's over or we're gonna give up and just give in. But
Yeah.
today was a pretty.
Well, I
rough
mean, there was
day.
a conversation today that I listened to that was happening in Glendale with a guy from PragerU.
Yeah.
Aldo, was him?
Was that him? You sent it to me, and
Oh,
I was
it's
just
Anthony.
watching it.
Anthony?
Anthony.
Okay, yeah, then yeah.
He was having a conversation with someone about this policy of keeping kids' gender identity from parents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he was, asking, like, how can you keep that from a parent? It's their parental right
Yeah.
to know. And they were saying, like, if the child chose to confide, like, in a trusted adult or something. I mean, that is so dangerous.
Like
Yeah.
define
Ultimately,
trusted
right,
adult.
Who's a trusted
I mean,
adult?
anybody at school now
Exactly.
is a
Yeah,
trusted
it's like-
adult.
Right.
We're not.
Right.
You're-
Your parent is not a trusted adult. Your parental rights have not been taken away, because if you're not a trusted adult, if you're abusing in any way, your child gets
Exactly.
taken away, right?
Yeah.
So presumably you are doing a fine job or
You're a
an
parent.
acceptable
Yeah,
job
yeah.
raising your child.
Exactly.
Yet you are not the trusted
Yeah.
adult.
You feed them, you take care of them, you clothe them.
Right.
But you're not going to be told if they're having these crazy,
Right.
nuanced thoughts and feelings about themselves. It's just like
Right.
I'm curious too, because you have an older child, right, who's almost in middle school. Like, what's their perspective? I'm just curious. Like, how are the kids responding to this? This is something I
But this
don't
is
know.
really interesting because my kids, my 11-year-old has like almost never talked about any of this
Really.
to us, except when he was in public school last year and he would come home and tell my middle son, Alan, you're a girl. You could be a girl. And I was like, where is this coming
Oh
from?
my goodness.
And it's and the thing is when they tell you we're not teaching that, it's not in the curriculum. I don't know where it is, but it's tacitly
Yeah.
being passed on to kids.
It's pretty
Because he was coming home and saying things that he wasn't hearing from us,
Yeah.
and we nipped that in the bud really quickly and took him out. Not because, there are people who feel like they're a girl, but now my child is being taught this and coming home and saying it to my younger child
Yeah.
who,
Yeah.
like, it's kind of
Yeah.
like, I can't even, like, gather my thoughts around it to express
Yeah.
myself correctly, because I don't know how you can say that you are not confusing kids, you are not indoctrinating, you're not talking to them about inappropriate materials, but my child is coming home and saying these things, which
Yeah.
are, to me, not okay.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. Like, I'm just like, when I was in 5th grade, I remember somebody in my class smoked pot or something in recess, and I remember just being like so intrigued with that. And then, like, lo and behold, like, me and all my classmates were all smoking pot, like 12th grade. It's just like
Yeah.
it's catches on. Kids are very smart.
It's the curiosity factor,
It's
right?
it's exactly.
What kids don't know, they won't explore, they won't question. They're
Yeah.
very vulnerable. So it's like the DARE program, right, at schools that used to exist.
Did
We're
they
gonna
get
tell
rid
you
of
about
them?
drugs.
They're like, yeah, don't do drugs.
They
Don't
exposed
do drugs,
kids.
here's what they are.
Yeah, exactly. And like
I
a thousand
came
different
to
ones.
They'll
this
make you
country
feel
in
like
the
you're
5th
flying.
grade
Yeah.
So I didn't know what drugs were.
Yeah.
But
wore
it
that,
didn't
like,
work.
Dare
It wasn't
t-shirt.
successful because of that. It had the opposite effect of
Of
what
course
they
it
Well, look
wanted.
at
This is
like,
it. This
counting
is
now. Look at fast
this is
forward.
their 2.0.
Yeah.
Fast forward 20, 30 years, and we have mental health crisis, drug crisis, homelessness.
Overdoses. Do you know how many people from CV have like overdosed and died
Yeah.
in the past like 5 years? Like, it's crazy. Like, I've never. It's a total
It's
epidemic.
Sad. It's really sad.
Right.
Like
Now-
the stats they used to, like 40% of
Yeah.
girls in high school are, trans or confused. Well, yeah, if we start in kindergarten,
Yeah.
I could see that.
my goodness,
right?
that's
I mean,
awful, yeah.
it kind of makes sense if we start this
So
small.
the argument is that there's mental health issues with these kids because they can't explore who they
Yeah.
are or what have you. So we're gonna fix it by telling everybody else.
Yeah.
Here's what you
Oh my
can be
goodness,
also.
yeah.
Like, you need to go figure this out too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they should not be. I was shocked when people were actually saying like, yeah, they should be introduced to these concepts while they're young because of the the better the hormones work. I hate it when they say that. It's like,
But-
I know I'm just waiting for the lawsuits to come out of parents children onto their parents because of transitional regret. I know there's going to be when these
well.
people get into their 20s, 30s and they regret it, they're going to look at their parents and be like, "What is wrong with you? I was 10.
But it's
Why did you
so
put me on
sad,
hormone?"
Right, it's
Yeah.
so sad the process. Like, why exactly?
Yeah.
Why have kids go
Yeah.
through that?
And that is
then-
yeah, exactly. And it's happened before. There's
I've heard of some stories.
yeah, like I mean, that's if you look at children actors, it was an unregulated thing, but then this kid, his last name is Coogan.
Coogan account.
Yeah, exactly. Like he
Spent his money.
yeah, he sued his parents for exploiting him into work because when he was 18, acted his whole life,
Well, I mean,
didn't
those
get a
kids
dime.
that go to like drag shows and
Well, yeah.
dance and like are in sexually explicit costumes,
Oh God,
and they're
so
just
evil.
children.
It's so evil.
Could they grow up and say,
I didn't want to be there.
"I didn't want to do that"?
I didn't want to do that. I would be so mad at my parents if
And
they
kids
put me
so
on
little, and there are
pictures
kids who are rebellious, but there are kids who will just do whatever to please their parents, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I just really quickly. I saw. I have a cousin. She's like pretty woke, but I'm not gonna say her name. I have like so many cousins, but but she had a book for her baby called C is for Consent,
Wow.
and it was just like, I remember just being like, why? You're trying to prevent. I know. I get it. You're trying to prevent sexual abuse, and that's why you think that this stuff needs to be taught in schools to prevent it, but it's like, but aren't you the one breaking the innocence barrier? You know what I mean? Like doing that
Right.
kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just this weird, it's like hypocrisy. Anyway, Ellie, were you trying to say something?
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, but I've seen it and I just think it's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what else do we have there?
Well, I mean, we kind of talked on this a little bit, but the response that you're getting from your leadership right now, the leadership in the schools, I mean, we just had that passed in LAUSD, so they're obviously don't care about the parents and what they have to say about their children.
Literally. Yeah.
Awful.
Do you see any sort of like actual positive response from them at all?
No.
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 Okay.
I mean, we sat down with district officials, but it was a listening session. So there was no decision making. There was no answering of questions, and nothing really that we got out of it. And today was the follow up.
That was-
I think we got the
That
answer.
was yesterday. Yesterday, a few parents
That was
sat
the
down
buffer.
with district officials and voiced their concerns because they were invited to.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were going to listen and respond. And then today, that resolution snuck in and got approved. So it's kind of like, I feel I was telling Lucina, it was look here. Like, look here.
We got
Right.
distracted for a quick
Distracted
second
us while they were
Wow.
doing that. Yeah.
Of course. Magic.
And our school was mentioned a few times during the board meeting today.
Oh,
Our
yeah,
protest
definitely,
was,
like,
but
look what
it
we're-
was portrayed
Yeah.
in, they burned the flag. there was so much hate.
Mind
Yeah.
you,
So we
there's
need
no,
to protect
there
this.
have been no charges filed.
Right, and we have no idea who's done that still.
Also,
so-
what has never gotten out in the media is that on that day that the flag was burned, 2 Armenian classes were vandalized.
Mm.
So, parents were not aware of that, and
Shouldn't that be considered a hate crime? I mean,
I don't know that Armenians are.
We're not protected against anything.
Oh my goodness.
But, my point is, if Armenians went on to burn the flag and send a message, if the Armenian parents did this, they wouldn't then break into
Vandalize our
their
own
own
kids.
kids' classes.
yeah.
Also, right?
Or put them in harm's
But
way.
also,
Yeah.
there haven't been charges filed, but they continue to say that a pride flag was burned
As a hate
as a
crime.
hate, like to show hate, but you don't know that yet because
Yeah.
I honestly think that that was a false flag. That
Hmm.
that flag that had been there for years was burned, and then blame the other side and let them deal with it.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a nice decoy, right?
Yeah, no, that is a decoy.
Now, sort of, what would your message be to the leadership, or let's say people on the opposing side, that really want this to be in schools?
We don't want it in elementary schools, right? We want age-appropriate materials. We want things to advance their academics. We want things to help them grow in as 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year, even 5th graders, right? 10, 11-year-olds. Middle school and high school, I don't know. I don't have a middle schooler yet. I don't know if my middle schooler would be in a state to be able to grasp this. We as parents, though, want the right to be able to make that decision on our own, right? We can talk to them about this when we see it fit. Just like we've always said, I don't think our message has changed. We really don't have an issue with the community
Yeah.
or any of what's going on. It's just don't shove it down our throat.
Yeah.
Don't indoctrinate the kids. Don't start at 4-year-olds
Yeah.
when that even wasn't supposed to have been the case on Friday.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard a lot of people say that it's the let's say the children's right to be knowing about this. What would your response be to them?
I mean, children's rights? I don't know.
Yeah.
Children's right.
I think as children, right, they belong to us,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? I mean, they're kids.
Yeah, to
like
some extent,
Christine
yeah.
was saying, they think there's rainbows and there's pot of gold underneath them
They
and
can
they're
hardly
dinosaurs.
decide what to have for breakfast.
Right. I mean,
And they have right to decide this,
or what they can learn, what not to.
you know.
No,
And that's the thing.
Going a
really,
bit too far, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where do we stop? And this, for us, at least for me personally, this is where we draw the line, because if not, I don't want to imagine what else it could turn into.
Yeah.
Last year, our school didn't have an assembly. It was, I think, just called the Spirit Day. And kids probably, I don't know, sing a song and colored rainbows. This year, it was an assembly. So next
A
year,
pride, a rainbow.
So
Now, what would the assembly actually
Yeah.
entail? Like,
I was about
for
to
the
ask
viewers,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know much about the assembly
so
itself.
the assembly was a reading of a book called, I think, My Big Great Families or whatnot.
Mhm.
And the book starts off with, once upon a time, families looked like this. And it displays a traditional family with a dad, mom, kids, pets. But now, families can have 2 moms, 2 dads. And again, all of that is fine and sprinkled in there, right? But why make me now look like a once upon a time fairy tale? I'm not, right?
Yeah.
To my kid, that once upon a time fairy tale is his reality.
Yeah.
So in trying to include somebody else, you've now excluded others.
You know, it honestly it sounds like jealousy. It's not like I'm just being honest. It's like you're gonna like make it sound like that was the old way it's
That's
done.
exactly what it is, right? The wording, right? So we're now
Yeah.
old school. We're now
Yeah.
uncool. We're not trendy.
They do,
here's
yeah.
what's
Well,
happening
to me,
now.
it wasn't even that. It was like, okay, let's just say that there was gonna be an assembly to say that, and that was gonna be it. No other
It
discussion.
continued.
Well, not
Oh
only does
my
it
goodness.
continue, then you turn around and talk to everyone
everybody
else
about-
about your
mhm.
family. Okay, but my problem with that was this is a gateway to other things. First, it's a little assembly. It's innocent. We're just talking about other kids who have 2 dads. Okay, I get it. I'm
I'll
super
tell-
sympathetic
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Little Johnny has 2 dads, and he wants his family mentioned in that book. Okay, I get it. But then this was a gateway to other things. And today, they just fast forwarded their whole entire plan and approved it. And what does the plan include? Full out everything on the table, you know?
Oh my
And I just read to you what
Yeah.
it's gonna be: banners and badges, and your kid's gonna
Yeah.
come home wearing a sticker and saying their new pronoun. You're gonna have
get
to
it
like
wrong,
deal
you
with
get
this, right?
punished.
But
Yeah.
I didn't ask to deal with that yet. I'm not ready to talk to my 7-year-old about sexual identity.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
Lord, that's like, oh my goodness. You know, in that movie, What is a Woman? There was a scene when I think they interviewed like a psychologist or something, a child psychologist, by the way, that was specialized in like gender affirming identity or something. And they asked, you know, Matt Walsh asked this lady, like, and he's pretty good at being unbiased, for the most part. But like
Well, we know where he stands, but he's very
Yeah.
respectful in his questions.
yeah, he was respectful with his questions, which I think was why that movie, like, maybe that's why they're so afraid to even talk to conservatives. But anyway, like a lot of you know, people pushing this. But anyway, he says, well, like, what's the outcome of this psychology? Why does it exist? And this woman said, well, to see if they match, if their physical matches their inner, and if it doesn't, then we get to explore the exciting possibilities. And it was just like, I'm sorry, did you just drop the word exciting in there?
Yeah.
Because you just officially made it like very creepy. Like, you know what I mean?
And
Like,
this is
That's the
probably
part
a
that we're-
trusted adult, right?
yeah. And
So
it was
when
just
we talk about trusted adults, I don't know
I don't
you
have
like
to
that.
be like, get away
You
from my
know?
Really
children.
trust
Like-
you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I'm sorry, this is fun for you?
Yeah.
So you just admitted to me that helping kids transition is fun for
That's
you.
what
That's disturbing. But if I say helping a kid love who they are inside and out, and that's fun for me, like, what are you gonna call me? Like, you know what I mean?
you
Like,
don't understand.
yeah, exactly.
Such a bigot.
Yeah.
Such a
I'm a
hateful
proud bigot. But no, but I wanted to say too that you know, in regard, oh, totally drawing a blank. All right. I
Lost
totally
your
lost
train of
my train of thought.
Hold on.
It was interesting. Hopefully it comes back to me.
It's probably because I called you a hateful bigot. I'm like, wait.
There goes the thought process.
Hateful bigot.
And that's probably what happens. So you were saying, like, how do we feel?
Yeah.
There's like cognitive dissonance because you're like, I'm not a hateful bigot. Like,
Like,
honestly,
what
I
am
don't
I
hate
with
you.
this?
I just want you to not like tell my kids about what you do with your life.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I'm a nice person.
Yeah, I'm a really nice person.
odd that all of this has
Let's
to
go
happen.
have lunch.
Yeah,
You
for
didn't
real.
tell me. How about that?
Yeah.
Tell me.
And
But
I'll
now my
decide when to
kids.
tell
Yeah,
my
exactly.
kids.
I'm a nice person in a bigot's body, I guess.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I'm a bigot and identify as a nice person.
Yeah, exactly. That's so crazy. I cannot
Yeah.
believe that that was their assembly. That's so like
That's-
that's icky to me. Anyway.
Right, and that's just a little crazy. Do you remember what you were saying?
No, I'll let
Okay,
you know.
you know
Though.
what, that's-
it'll
that's
it'll
fine.
come back.
We
It was interesting.
We
but-
can fast forward and kind of tackle, I guess, what would your message be to parents who maybe feel a little bit scared to get their voice out there?
Don't be scared. I think that's how we got here.
Yeah.
Is for so long we've been so silent that that it was okay, right? So if for example board meetings, right? If we don't go out, if we don't say no, then it gets passed without anybody from the opposition saying no. I'm not okay with this.
Yeah.
We have to get out, unite, and speak up because otherwise, how do even standing behind a screen and commenting your opposition against this isn't really enough at this point. You literally have to get up, go out. I don't know, if whatever it's going to
Yeah.
take. If it's a protest, if it's a board
Absolutely.
meeting, if it's getting your voice letters to whoever up the chain it takes to
Yeah.
let them know that you're not okay with it. Period.
I think. Yeah.
I think that we are at an uphill battle because me personally, I haven't really like paid attention to who gets voted on the school board and what their agenda is and if I agree with that or not.
Right.
We've just been comfortable.
Absolutely.
And now we're really uncomfortable. and
Being pushed now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
and like
you know-
I get a lot of messages of people saying like, how did this happen? How can they just do what they want? And I say because they got voted in and
Yeah.
They
you know,
passed what they
and
wanted.
we didn't
Yeah.
vote for who we believe should lead us. So this is the current leadership because that's who was voted in. So the only thing we could do, unfortunately, is it's the hard way, it's the long way, is to actually start paying attention, start supporting people who are running for office
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you agree with their views and support them and vote for them and get people in there who will pass new legislation to protect our kids and to have some curriculum in place that sees them and accepts them, has the support that they're asking for in schools, you know, because
Yeah.
they're saying that our kids aren't seen, they feel there's mental health issues and they are bullied. Normally the way that that's handled is there's support at school, right? You go to talk to a counselor, they help you handle those issues. That's the same for all kids.
Right.
We don't have to throw this whole pride flag at the entire school
Yeah.
to support you. We can support you in other ways.
Individually.
Yeah.
So start, thinking of ways to do this without ramming it down other people's throats.
Yes, absolutely. With politics, I've noticed, because I'm pretty new to all of it, but I think encouraging each other to run is such an important thing, and it's something that is, like, it's inconvenient, it's not ideal, but it's like sometimes it just needs to be normalized because stuff will just be passed under our nose. And
Yeah.
there's also, it's like, I think of it almost like a game of chess, like there are these unspoken like tactics that are being played here, like I remember the thought I was going to say earlier, but
There you go.
it was that a tactic is like saying, okay, that was the old way, this is the new way. And it started with like slavery. Like everyone can say, yes, slavery was wrong. It was wrong. It needed to end. Like that was not okay. That was the old way. The new way is, that was like the movements in the 60s, This is the new way. We are equal under God, but then it was the same with feminism because it was like, the old way was women can't vote, women can't have a credit card, women stay home, cook for man all day, can't work, like, can do anything, like, and it was just like, that was the old way. But the new way is women, and it's like gone so far the other way, like, oh, you have to be working 40 hours a week and be a mom and have, like, it's just like there's
you
this
work
new...
so hard that you don't have
Yes.
time to keep up with school.
Yes, exactly. Like
Politics,
it's,
you're so
I
out.
know, yeah, but that's a tactic that they
Yes,
use.
absolutely.
Like, and frankly, there were tactics that I saw at these protests, like when they all link arms and form a circle.
Mm-hmm.
What are they saying? We're peaceful. We're not the hateful ones. They're physically saying it, and then you have the other people holding up flags, chanting through megaphones, and it's just like visually.
Yeah.
It looks bad, and these are little tactics,
Right, the
you know.
optics,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
have like really emotional
Parents.
parents who are at their wits' end because
Yeah.
they don't know what to do, so they start screaming
yeah,
to be heard because they're not being heard. Like someone messaged saying, this is not the way to do it. Like yelling at the school was not the way to do it. These parents think that they can just go rally and get something done. They should have gone to the school board.
Yeah.
Well, that person didn't know that, and I wasn't part of the process early on because I was comfortable,
yeah,
Because to me, it was like, I just won't send my kid to school that day.
yeah,
But they actually tried and tried and tried to talk.
yeah.
There was meetings and
Yeah.
emails and phone calls and letters being ignored, being, then told that you
A
burned the flag,
petition.
accusations.
yeah.
So at what point do you say, okay, I've tried all your avenues, now I'm gonna go yell at you because I don't know what else to do. And that
Yeah.
the parents
Like they
that day,
push
Yeah.
you to
they
the
were
end.
just
Yeah.
pushed to their limit.
Yeah, and when there's no organizers, like, and people are just angry and at their wits' end, they're gonna make mistakes in their physique.
course.
It's like in law, when
You lose composure.
Yeah, if you lose composure,
Right.
it's a tactic, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
If-
lawyers go, oh, you look nervous. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's on the record.
And like my husband was on one of those videos, and one of the reporters came to him, and he was talking to someone, and he turned over, and he had a mic in his face, and
Yeah.
he asked him a question. He's not a speaker at all. That was not his like comfort zone. And he reacted in a way that he normally wouldn't have. He just yelled, "I don't care," and ended up
Yeah.
looking
And that's
like-
all that they got.
Yeah.
And that's what they
Oh my
showed.
little
goodness.
snippets.
Right? And of
Yeah,
course he cared.
so
He was
off.
there. He
Yeah.
cared,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, exactly.
So-
Oh my
but
goodness, that's
but
terrible.
also at the rallies, like people show up that you didn't ask them to come.
yeah.
Even
With
on our
them,
side, we had no idea who they
Like
were.
with
Yeah.
megaphones and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're on your side, therefore, you know, you get
Yeah.
credited with them, but
whether
Yeah.
you like
You
it or
know,
not, whether
It
you
was
yeah,
so
what if
crazy.
like there was a man there, I didn't agree with a lot of his message, but he was on our side, so
Yeah.
like then we get blamed for that guy's
yeah.
message.
Yeah. And it's
You know?
it's a lack of you know, and that unified thing, it matters so much in the long term because like there were cameras from every angle. There were like 2 helicopters in the sky that were filming and I mean it was just so crazy that the people literally like separated each other into those
Yeah.
2 mobs. There were 2 mobs around the same
This is today?
size.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, this was
Oh, today.
today. The mobs were literally like the LGBT and the pro-parent thing. They were like almost the same size.
Uh-huh.
That was really shocking to me, and it was just growing on each side, and it was just like, and you know, you can see these tactics being played, and whatever if something happens today that's noteworthy, now you're gonna have national news talking about it and using these examples as like, you know, like
Here we are being hurtful.
yeah, like they're gonna be used
But that's
as
all that gets that's all that gets reported, right?
Yeah.
Mainstream at least.
like life lessons, you know, like, oh, don't be like this, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like don't agree with these people because
look
they
at who's
yeah
opposing.
Yeah.
Look at these hateful people. But you know, there's so much emotion and so much that came before that people don't see.
absolutely, yeah. So I really appreciate you guys
Yeah.
taking the time to
Thanks
talk
for
about
having
this
us.
and
Having us.
Yes.
yeah, because it's we need clarity, we need people to know where we're coming from, for people to know the intention, you know, what's the
Yeah.
intention behind a mother trying to look out for her kid. It's motherly love. It's like the oldest
Yeah.
it's like
I
the
think one of the things that I did an interview that they mentioned on there was how much dads we had at our. You said mama bears, right, or moms?
yeah.
I think this was
There's
at
a lot
least
of men out there today.
we
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
we
lot of
had a
dads.
lot of dads at our
That's
protest.
fantastic,
We had
yeah.
dads, uncles, and grandpas.
Yeah, it got
But if-
serious enough for the moms
Yeah,
to
they
say,
knew
"You're coming
They
today."
knew that they had to be there. But yeah, I think I don't know. My at least last message would be that it's not no longer just a mom thing, right? It's a
Yeah.
parental.
The Papa
we
Bears need
all,
to come
yeah,
out.
we
Yes.
need them. We need everyone
true.
to just stand up and voice their concerns.
Absolutely, that is so true. Well, we only have a minute left, but Ellie, do you want to close us out with like some announcements and stuff? So you might want to scoot this way a little bit. 'Cause
Let's see.
it's a little technical.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's
I don't think if I have. My throat is like totally not.
Oh,
it's literally
no.
giving on me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I have any more announcements. I know we have that Menudo contest that's coming up on, let's see, June 25th. So keep on lookout for that. We've mentioned that before on the podcast twice. We'll definitely continue putting that on our social medias, so you'll get to see it there. But that'll be a pretty fun way to just get the valley together. And you know, nothing. I mean, not everything has to be about politics. We can have fun too. So you can just enjoy that. But yeah, just a reminder: our Instagram is at 180 shift, or 180.shift. TikTok and Twitter are 180 shift, so it's without the dot.
We made a
Facebook
big win
is yes,
on TikTok.
it's true. And then Facebook
Thanks
is
to our guest.
yes. I love the guest here.
Shout out to our guest.
And then our Facebook is Tara and Ellie, and then website is 180movement.org. So please check us out all on there. And thank you again for
Thank
both
you.
of you
Thank you
being
for
here.
having us.
Yes, thank
been
you
really
guys
great.
so much.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the activation of these parents and all this stuff.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah, I think the results
Where
are going to be
the
good.
LAUSD parents?
Yeah,
We need them.
where are they? Get them out. Hopefully, you know, they've been inspired. They've heard what's going on, and they've heard about, you know, like the stuff you were talking about, the stuff to come, the assemblies that have happened, and yeah, we just gotta all stand up because we're all just on the team of the children, you know,
Right.
and obviously it's a conversation of, well, what does that mean? So anyway, but thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.